All Fallout games have companions. To varying degrees of success, these companions act as teammates, friends, and characters in similar roles to the ones that were originally played by other players in tabletop campaigns. This video is a look at an array of companion mods for Fallout New Vegas, putting them into a tier list because, algorithm. First, I'm going to briefly discuss what makes a good companion, and then dive directly into the mods. Okay, in my opinion, a good companion does 3 key things. Number 1, provide usefulness. This could mean a bunch of things, but it particularly relates to gameplay. Are the companions good in combat? Do they have skills you can make use of? Can they carry stuff? Can they craft? Etc. 2, provide character. Since companions originate from emulations of real people, they ought to act like real people. Companions should talk to you, have backstories, and personal preferences in the way that a human does. This also means that they should react to occurrences in the story or gameplay in a way that aligns with their characterization. 3, provide context and perspective. This is the most difficult step and one that characters developed by game devs often fail to meet. What I mean by context and perspective is that everyone is different, and as such, everyone has a different understanding of the world around them. Through a good companion, you can learn about aspects of the game world that your status as player, or as human rather than ghoul, or legion rather than NCR, or smart rather than dumb, denies you. Quick notes, this video will only be covering original characters. I will not be reviewing any mods that convert previously existing game characters into companions. Sorry, Ulysses. This video will also be omitting any companion mod that requires any additional nudity or jiggle physics mods to work, and that one's just so I can continue to look myself in the mirror. Now that we have our basic criteria for judging these companion mods, let's fire it up. Let's go. Delilah is one of the most popular companion mods of all time, so I was really interested to see exactly why that was. After playing with Delilah in my party for a while, I kinda get the hype. There's a lot to love here. Delilah lives in Good Springs, and early in your first conversation, she is woven quite well into the established Fallout lore. She is the assistant of Doc Mitchell, and she helped save your life before the beginning of the game. This immediately places her in a position of importance to the main character, but also to the wider story. This is an often underlooked aspect of character building with companions. Almost all companions, in mods or in games, are kinda just cool characters who you find randomly along the way who decide to come with you for some arbitrary reason. Typically, they don't have any serious connection to you or your story. The best game companions will have personal ties to you or personal stories that parallel yours. At the very least, they should have similar goals. Delilah is immediately justified as a member of your party. Even further, her uncle is Sulik from Fallout 2, which, while fanservice-y, is a hell yeah from me.
What can we and I do you for?
Some of my favorite moments in Fallout New Vegas are the callbacks to Fallout 2, and deepening that lore is always really satisfying. Delilah is one of the more unique companions on this list because her status as a doctor isn't just backstory. Mechanically, she is incredibly useful. As you travel with her and she learns from different doctors in the Mojave, she will unlock more recipes for medicines, but also unlock new abilities like healing limbs or curing addictions. This makes her unparalleled mechanically, especially for a character playing on hardcore mode. The negative aspects of Delilah are her voice acting and general writing. Her voice acting sounds like it was recorded on a headset mic, which is unfortunate.
He showed me how to make his ancestral pain remedy, voodoo. It's very potent and very addictive.
There is another mod that totally revoices her, but I didn't really bother because her writing isn't great either. Even a great voice actor probably couldn't do a whole lot with it.
Sulik used to say that we all have 2 wolves battling inside us, a good wolf and an evil wolf. The one that wins is the one we feed.
Delilah is very much more worthwhile for her gameplay than for her story. She does have quests though, and a good amount of them actually. Largely, these consist of her learning how to be a real wasteland doctor. You take her to many of the game's doctor characters, and then after she's learnt enough, she wants to join the followers of the Apocalypse formally. The followers then give you some quests to heal some people all over the wasteland. This is fun, and I ended up rooting for Delilah a lot. Even though her lines are bad, she's still sweet, and I wanted her to do well. If you're playing on harder difficulty, playing in hardcore mode, or playing with added difficulty mods, Delilah is what I'd consider to be a must. Otherwise, she's just fine in my opinion. Because of everything that makes her so unique and useful, Delilah is a B tier. Although I want to add that she could have been so much more with just a little more care put into the writing. Desmond Harper is a companion you meet in the Atomic Wrangler Casino, and he's... First of all, his character is pretty nondescript. He's a generic mercenary type, mostly forgettable. This is not helped by the fact that his voice acting is so flat it almost sounds like this is the first time the actor's seen the lines.
So, we hatched a plan to kill some fiends and loot their hideout. Anyway, long story short, my friends died, I didn't.
This man just told me about his friends dying quite recently with the exact same delivery as telling me what kind of guns he can use. The funny part about Desmond Harper is, even though I mentioned that it sounded like it, this isn't the first time this actor has read the lines. This is the patched version. They redid the voice acting because originally it somehow was even worse. Oh yeah, also he's British. What's with your accent?
I don't have an accent.
Alright, although the voice acting is bad, some of his dialogue is more interesting, even funny sometimes, like when he tells the Mick and Ralph's crier to shut up.
It can be found at Mick and Ralph's.
Shut up, you stupid kid.
That's strangely cathartic. New Vegas should have given you more opportunities to yell at children. Change my mind. Okay, seriously though, Desmond's quests. He has two. The first one is to recruit him, and the second is to go to a place and kill some dudes. Then it's over. That's it. So, to summarize, Desmond is mostly boring. His lines are mostly boring, his voice acting is boring, his quests are boring, and he has no cool gameplay mechanics. He essentially provides nothing, maybe somehow even less than the companions in Fallout 3. Desmond Harper is D tier. Just do better. The Storyteller is a tie-in companion mod for the Storyteller YouTube video series produced by the channel Shoddycast between 2013 and 2017. If you haven't seen it, it begins as a series of narrated lore videos explaining everything from Vault-Tec to the Master. As the series went on, its production value increased and the narrator became his own character who would have his own little side story going on as he told the lore of the series. He traveled with an iBot named Edna who he would often quip with throughout the videos. Because the Storyteller was placed into the world of the games as an inside participant rather than an outside observer, it was a no-brainer for him to eventually be modded into the game. It's really great fan service. He looks perfect, Edna is there, but to be honest with you, that's about it. Every now and again he'll have something quippy or interesting to say, but the character is a YouTube video tie-in. The closest thing to a quest that the Storyteller gets is that you can go on a collectathon scavenger hunt for maintained pre-war books. And when you do, he will tell you a story. This just means that the screen will fade and you'll watch one of their videos as a cutscene, which is really disappointing. If he had told new or original stories as you wandered, or if he had a quest which tied into the narrative established in the videos, I'd be more inclined to like this companion, but with the content there is, the mod is an ad for the videos. Anyway, the Storyteller is C tier. Cool model, nice concept, but it's an ad, what else can I say? Niner is what I'd consider now to be a kind of dark horse companion in this list. By no means is he the best, a lot of what's in this mod is really underdeveloped, but Niner's up there for one of my favorites in terms of personality. Niner is a roguish, kind of teenager-y companion who you meet along the road where his motorcycle has broken down. You take him to find some gas, you don't find any gas, and then he takes you out to have a drink. It was here where I started to like this character, and it just kept getting better from there. For such a conceptually edgy and jaded character, Niner's just a cool dude, what can I say? The characterization is consistent and strong, and he's genuinely funny a lot of times in a way that lines up well with his character. But anyway, the way his quests are designed is good. You meet him in Goodsprings, and his set of quests takes you about the same way you'd go if you were following the main quest. Unfortunately, the quest is very short. It's basically a joyride to Vegas, and then once you're there, the quest ends because you made it to Vegas. A character arc is implied but not executed, which is a real shame. All in all, the quest content for this mod is about 3 hours. Cool character, weird voice acting, quest is too short, and it doesn't really have any conclusion to anything that it implies. Niner is a good fit for our B tier. Hope Lies is a mod I installed last minute, about halfway into the production of this video, and I feel pretty much exactly the same way about her as I do about Niner, except I might actually like Hope more. The big thing that separates this mod from some of the others is that the writing and voice acting for Hope Lies kind of blows every other mod on this list out of the water. I think a big part of this is that Hope's voice acting is done by Jessica Osborne, who is an actual voice actor. They did work for Spellforce 3 and Enderall, which is a coincidence that I didn't think I'd find making this, but anyway, the point is that Hope's voice acting is great. I could see it being annoying if you're annoyed by Southern accents in general, but if you lean into it, you'll find the best voice performance of any character on this list.
My name's Hope. Hope Lies. Funny name, I know. German, I think. The lion part, not the hope.
Coupled with that is a lot of really great writing. Hope is one of only a few characters on this list who genuinely do feel like they're written like human beings first and Fallout characters second.
Maybe. Pa always said he would have died if it weren't for the good book. Ma always told me you're one bad shot from digging your own grave. I think they were both right, in their own way.
Hope is the daughter of a pastor, and as her name suggests, she's a pretty hopeful person. She's full of little aphorisms about life and her experiences, which really separate her from most companions and companion mods, whose barks are often more sarcastic or goofy in tone. She doesn't have a massive amount special about her mechanically, and she doesn't comment on everything in the world the way that some other companion mods do, but it's quality over quantity here. Her quest involves finding an orchid that sucks radiation out of everything around it. The motivation for going on this quest is actually quite good. Hope feels like she's responsible for someone getting extremely ill with radiation, and the quest, while literally about healing the sick woman, is more thematically about healing Hope of her guilt and doubt. This involves letting go of the past, which is a great nod to New Vegas's grand theme. All base game companion quests in one way or another deal with letting go of the past, and mod creators understanding that and building that out into their mods is excellent. The quest for the orchid takes you to Vault 22, where you discover that in order to grow, the flower must be kept in a chamber with immense amounts of radiation. Hope insists on going in without you, fully anticipating that she will become very sick and die shortly after. This is the moment of final redemption she was waiting for. She goes in and she gets knocked out unconscious, and you have to run in and get her, or the orchid, but you can't get both. This isn't a really difficult decision, but it's a step up from a lot of mods which offer very little in terms of alternate options. This section really reminds me of Fallout 3's ending, but it can also be tied into the ending of Dead Money. After picking her up and running out of there, you get a dream sequence where you play as Hope talking to her dead father. Really good and emotional sequence here. I'll play a bit of it right now.
Well, around the time you were born, your mother and I were having difficulties. We couldn't agree on anything, let alone a name, so for about a month you were just our crying child. And boy, could you cry. I had to get my shut-eye during the day because every night you'd let out one hell of a storm. Well, eventually I just gave up on trying to go to sleep. Figured you were going to wake me up anyway, so what was the point? Only that night, you were quiet as a tumbleweed. I remember holding you in my arms, the both of us tired and hungry, not knowing whether me or my marriage would last the night. And then I looked into your eyes and thought to myself, this child right here is where all my hope lies.
It's really good, like shockingly good. You leave this place and you find yourself in Doc Mitchell's house where Hope is being treated. She's okay, but the woman she tried to save is dead. She has to move on from the past and her mistakes and keep moving. I love this character. I love this mod. Even though mechanically she's not great, as mentioned, she is pretty definitively the best character on this list, which gives her a spot in S tier, just on its own. Russell is a mod that I covered in my video analysis of the Some Guy 2000 series, but I'll mention him again here because he's an excellent companion. Russell is a really well fleshed out character with a cool backstory. He was once a desert ranger, so his experience as that makes him an incredibly unique character in terms of background lore. He comments on a ton of things that happened both in New Vegas proper and all of the mod creators' other works. Russell's mod comes with its own multi-stage questline fit with choices and character growth. I had some grievances with a lot of the plot, writing, and performance issues in that mod, but fortunately none of those issues are necessarily the fault of Russell as a character. Because he's a good character who fits very well into the world of the game and the mods, but his quests are only decent and mechanically he's nothing special, Russell is A tier. Willow is the most popular companion mod on the Nexus. Her number of downloads triples the next downloaded companion mod, and it's no mystery why that is. Everything you could feasibly think of adding to a companion mod is here. I'll give you some examples. Willow can scavenge on her own, picking up items that you didn't along the way. You can set her home to be anywhere, so if you dismiss her, you can set exactly where she'll go. She can set up a campfire essentially anywhere in the open world where you can cook. These are just some of the most important ones too. There are a lot more features with Willow that are really surprising and interesting. Willow's scripting alone has to eclipse any of the other companion mods here. It's impressive as all hell. Something that's more unique to her in a bad way is that she has her own affinity system, which is kind of like a mix between the Fallout 4 system and, weirdly, the affinity system present in Stardew Valley of all games. New Vegas already had an affinity system for many of its companions, but I think intelligently, that mechanic is mostly hidden. The game doesn't tell you with a big Boone disliked that box when you do something he takes issue with. With Willow, unfortunately, it is a lot more gamified, to the point where you can give her gifts repeatedly that boost your affinity, like in Stardew Valley. Your affinity with Willow dictates what quests and mechanical options you get. For example, you can't change her clothes until you reach a certain level of comfort with her, which is totally fair and realistic. If I had only known someone for a day, I wouldn't want them bossing around what I've got on either. The big problem with Willow is that as a character, she is awful, unrealistically cheery and flirty to a cartoonish extent. A lot of people have described this mod as an annoying weeb ooh girlfriend simulator, which I can see to a certain extent. She definitely does kind of feel like a video game waifu. Willow's quests are mostly alright, but also include some stuff that I can only really describe as XD random, like how she has a Hello Kitty necklace or how she eats dog treats. Very pancake waffle rainbow, if you know what I mean. Even if the lines aren't good, there are a crazy amount of them. Willow comments on everything, which probably plays into why a lot of people find her annoying. I'd be lying if some of it wasn't impressive though.
Hey.
Hi, my name's Willow. What do you do around here?
I'm really very boring. You'd get better stories out of a Freeside junkie.
I'm sure that's not true, but maybe you'll feel more like talking if we meet again.
Hey.
Holy shit, she just had a conversation with Arcade Ganon, a character from the base game, with Arcade having voice lines that don't feel out of context. That's really great stuff. Overall, Willow is great mechanically, but largely disappointing writing and quest-wise. Willow is the polar opposite of Hope Lies, and exactly like Delilah, but on steroids. High B tier to low A tier. That's kind of all the ones that I found that I felt were worth mentioning or talking about without totally ending up repeating myself, cause you know I would. I'd like to take this moment to thank my patrons over on Patreon, with a special thank you to Jack, Bradley, and Spencer. This video was voted for by my patrons, so if you'd like to influence which of my videos comes out first, or just support the channel in general, the link is in the description. For now, I'll turn the conversation to you. Do you have a favorite companion mod? Do you have any extremely memorably awful ones? Let me know in the comments. I've got two quite big mod review video projects I'm working on kind of simultaneously at the moment, so keep your eyes open for that as well. Thank you for watching.